jurors could start hearing testimony soon in the trial of Pender County's clerk of court.
Elizabeth Craver has pleaded not guilty to charges that include obtaining property by false pretenses. Attorneys are close to seating the jury that will hear the case against Craver. WECT's Ariana Bertolotti updates where that process stands tonight.
Day 2 of the Elizabeth Craver trial consisted of jury selection. They seated all 12 jurors plus one alternate, but one more alternate juror is needed. We learned right before court was adjourned on Monday, one man was arrested for contempt of court after purposely disrupting the process. However, that didn't derail Tuesday's jury selection, with roughly 100 people showing up. Pender County Clerk of Court Elizabeth Craver is accused of misappropriating roughly $1,000. We're told the man who was arrested Monday told other jurors to turn a blind eye to what happened given the smaller dollar amount involved. However, the state says it's not about the dollar amount. It comes down to the alleged false representation to get the money. Court is expected to resume Wednesday morning at 9:30, where the search for the final alternate juror will continue. Reporting in Pender County, Ariana Bertolotti, WECT News.